Welcome back to the Unpacked and Empowered Finances. I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Murray Tucker. He's the co-owner of Wealth Plan Atlantic, as well as he's a wealth management advisor who's had over 13 years of experience in the financial industry. And as you know, the goal of this podcast is to make sure that we give you financial information that's easy to digest and is accessible to you. But just a disclaimer as well that anything that we're going to discuss today is for educational purposes. We don't know your personal situation, so it's not to be considered a personal financial advice. And we hope that you learned something out of this podcast episode. So, welcome to
Thanks, Marianne.
Empowered Finance.
So happy to be here. So my name is Murray. I'm a partner of Wealth Plan Atlantic in St. John. We help Atlantic Canadians create retirement income plans that are simple, tax smart, and built around their life, not just rates of return inside of portfolios. And again, thanks. Really excited to be here with you today and talk about some important things.
We're excited to dive into the questions that most of the people that listen to the podcast actually are either they're newcomers or they're just starting over. And there's a lot of misconception about financial planning. Is that for us, or do we even have to think about it? So your mission, I believe, is to empower Atlantic Canadians through the philosophy of your story, your plan. So today we want to unpack the absolute fundamentals for beginners. So let's start with the very basics. A lot of people think financial plan, is it even for us? Do we have to think about it early on? Is it just a stack of investment papers? How would you define financial plan to someone who's new to the concept?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into a financial plan. There's a misconception out there that it's all based off of an investment portfolio and the return that it generates. But that's only one piece of the engine that drives their financial life. There are other components that are really important to get you where you want to go. Don't get me wrong, the investment portfolio is a key piece to it, but there are many other factors. It's building a roadmap of what do you want to do and why do you want to do it. That's another important thing. I haven't met two clients that are exactly the same or have the same goals or lifestyle desires. One thing that we really lean into here is listening to clients, understanding what their desired lifestyle is, and then build the plan around that. And again, the rates of return investments are a key piece of it, but there are many other factors. You want to pay the least amount of tax over your lifetime. When can I retire? What is it going to look like? Income, assets, debt, planning for that. And then obviously checking in regularly to make sure that nothing has changed, because a lot of times things change over time. Kids grow up and their desired lifestyle for retirement changes. We need to be able to change the plan accordingly and have regular reviews.
That's true. So we have to be adapted to whatever situation we're at, whatever stage we are in life. There's seasons, as I call it.
Yes.
The seasons of life that we have to adjust for, especially when it comes to finances. Now, again, with the misconception, do I need to be rich to have a financial plan? And what is the minimum qualification for someone to talk to a financial planner or a financial advisor like you?
Yeah, no, you definitely don't need to be rich to start a financial plan. That seems to be a misconception out there. The earlier you start, the cheaper any mistakes that you run into will be. The plan moves along with you. It's all about getting started with the plan.
So you worked in this industry and with people for over 13 years. What's the single biggest fear or challenge that drives someone to finally say, okay, I need a plan? And is it uncertainty about retirement or something else?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When you spend time learning about what's important to clients, we often notice that there's generally, one or two triggers that makes them decide that they actually need to have a plan. And generally the number one trigger is like a life event. So maybe they're 5 years from retirement. Maybe they have they want to sell their business, or they've had something come up in their health that is going to slow them down from a work perspective. Maybe a big tax year, their parents passed, or there's an inheritance, maybe a divorce, right? So a lot of times those life events and those triggers force someone to look for clarity. That's when we need to start looking at planning. The second one is definitely anxiety, right? At some people have kids and they start to grow up and they might feel anxiety. Am I prepared for my own retirement? Have I done what I needed to along the way? And then they start to feel a little bit overwhelmed. And that's where, with us as advisors, we need to sit down with them and provide some clarity and walk them through the planning process to make sure that they're able to do the things that they want with their life.
So we don't have to go through these life events alone. The same way that you seek a counseling therapist for any mental health concerns, you would also seek someone professional to guide you through financial planning and any financial aspects of your life. Now, you mentioned earlier that you haven't met two clients who would be the same. So you offer clients unbiased advice and free from one size fits all solutions. Can you give us a quick example of a common financial challenge where the one size fits all approach typically fails the client?
Yeah, for sure. We with a lot of clients that come to us, sometimes they already have some parts of their plan established, and sometimes they don't. They have their RSPs or maybe some pensions or insurance, things like that. And I would say most often that's all they focus on is the investment and the rate of return and things like that, when there's really many other factors that go into it. Yes, we want to grow it. Like the 4 stages that we look at is grow your wealth, spend it in a tax efficient manner, pass it on to loved ones or somebody that's important to you. And we want to preserve that along the way. So, you're paying the least amount of tax over your lifetime. You're hitting your income goals, which is aimed for your desired lifestyle. Some people want to travel, people don't. I mean, it's all based around there, but it's just one RSP and the rate of return is not going to get you to that successful. We just talked about it a second ago, that anxiety-free retirement, because that is a very important factor in the planning process and building these roadmaps for our clients.
If a listener is feeling a lack of a clear roadmap, confusion, or anxiety about their money, what's the very first, easiest step they can take today to move forward to a plan?
I would say it definitely starts with clarity. Write down your accounts, write down your top 3 goals that you want around your financial life. It doesn't always have to be about retirement. It could be about getting out of debt or protecting your family with insurance and things like that. Start with clarity. Write down what your top 3 goals are and just get out of your own head with all the jargon we see in the media and focus on what you want. Book a 45-minute consult with an advisor or a planner and let them know what's important to you and what your goals are and see if they can help you along the way.
And when someone is looking for an advisor, what are the top 2 questions that we should be asking to ensure that we get the unbiased and comprehensive advice?
One of the top questions is, how is that advisor compensated? Are there any incentives for selling products at their firm, or if they're at a financial institution, big bank? Will you be able to provide me with a written plan that includes me hitting my income goals, paying the least amount of taxes in my lifetime, and make sure that the people that are important to me are getting anything that's left over? And how often would you review that plan with the advisor? We see it a lot. We hear it a lot. I haven't heard from my advisor in 3 years or 2 years, or things like that. So those are the main questions. How do you get paid? How do you help your clients? And can you provide me with a sample plan that I can look at?
That's really important. A lot of the people I talk to say they already have advisors, but then when I actually ask, like, when's the last time you spoke to the advisor? It's like maybe 6 years ago.
Right,
or so.
exactly. Yeah, we
So-
can dive in a little bit deeper and figure out why. Then it's interesting to see.
It's really important for someone who's looking for an advisor to make sure that they're aware, like, how many touch points do they have? Is it just a one-time thing that they're looking for an advisor?
Another question might be to ask that potential advisor, do they have any experience in that field, like newcomers?
That's true. So we've already covered what a plan is and why it matters. If you could give our audience one piece of advice, one thing to remember about their money, what would it be?
Great question. Your financial life shouldn't be built on one giant decision that's made in one day. It's built in small, repeated, intentional decisions, consistently aligned with a bigger strategy that you have developed. Don't chase timing in the markets. Don't chase returns. Just take the next right step and keep going forward.
Perfect. That's really great advice. I hope you get something out of that, and I'm sure you do because I did. And if you like this episode, please share it to your friends, your family, your network, everywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.